You got it,
Yeah.
right, I'm looking for planning.
Yes, this is a retrospective one.
I don't want to see any of the details or anything. See how we do.
So they built it.
They built it, yes, they
In the wrong
built it.
place.
No, it's to do with not, they built it before actually asking, they had permission, but they didn't inform Federal District Council. And they built a different building to which was approved.
I did actually speak to Bob just before this. And
Yes, he
since he was quite right. And what I've learned is that Sedgemoor weren't warned beforehand. They contacted Sedgemoor after the building, and Sedgemoor came out and found that the house was built, I think, between 6 and 8 foot too high. And so it's a question, I mean, we all thought it was a bit of overdevelopment anyway, but it's technically built higher than the original plans.
I was at the same conversation. I thought it was too far forward.
No,
because it had been back.
It's the height.
it's very similar. We had this on Parish Council, if you like, Peter, when I was, but we had this with Rowley House in the village, and that was built too high. And there were all the,
So
they built a 3-storey house, and they were told to take it down. Well, they did. They took the story up, but they kept the height of the roof exactly the same. So it's people going around the edges and being artful.
So, Cynthia, what does Sedgemoor suggested they do, or haven't they?
I don't know.
They've done that in the end. They've put plans in.
They put the plans in for us to look at.
I just wondered if they commented on what they should do, what should they put in.
No, I can honestly say that I don't know.
I was likewise talking to Bob about this, and evidently the concern is that one of the doors is 6 to 8 foot off the ground.
If you come out of it, you can drop.
And the only way to remedy access to that is either to build either steps down or timber, what do you call it? Decking on it. And if they build timber decking, it will mean that the neighbouring properties are overlooked from that height.
Yeah. So really the door is there doing nothing.
Yes, because
They can look out the windows and overlook.
But if you've
but
got
it will take it further back.
If you've got a set of plans and you've got a builder, they have to go from the plans that the architect.
Well, they apparently have. The other question is, was, has there been any objection from the neighbours?
Can you put that out there?
And see whether there's any, there's some consultee replies, I think, interested parties, consultees, probably.
No, interested parties.
Interested parties it is. Sorry.
That's nice.
Carry on. There is a couple of matters there, I think.
Hold on. Picture.
Yeah.
Cool. So,
There is. Right.
Having plans passed by the property could subsequently be ignored or transparent. Well, I think that's a very fair comment.
Yeah, that's true on every single
and
occasion.
the other
few were filled with
the other letters exactly the same.
But you have a building inspector that comes out when the footings are done.
They didn't.
They
didn't. That's the whole problem.
That's the problem. They didn't call them out.
They didn't call out, they called
I
out
can't
when it was
understand how
built.
they were allowed to start without.
Because you have to have a licence to start.
Well, they just did it.
Well, then I would propose that we actually object to this because it needs to go to a committee.
I
And
think
that's
this is something
blatant.
quite obviously serious, and we can't really come to a conclusion in the sense that It's obviously quite
Who's
serious.
this person now?
Yeah,
It's
and it
quite
just,
serious.
if you've gone to
Judy, is that
to get permission, like everybody else
Judy and
does.
Burgess, three of the Burgess, that's
Judy.
next door again.
Well, she was the editor of Western paper.
No. I think that is blatantly
Well, I think
contravening.
it's contravening all the
I
planning rules.
I wonder, well, the builder must have had plans
Of course
that
he
he
did.
was having to work it.
And the builder would have known that he would have to get.
The building inspector would have to come in on the footings. and
Absolutely.
everything
I would
else.
have thought so.
So what?
But if you
how
don't
did
tell
this
them
far
you've
then?
started, they wouldn't know it was being built. So therefore, you know, that it's blatant, isn't it? You know that they've.
But
Well,
you go on with
it's
it.
either, I don't think it would be something they would do on
But
purpose.
this is,
They obviously haven't been thorough.
this is that something to do with the fence?
Yeah, it's making.
Well, and also the
Yes,
extra height
because it's,
of the.
they need a
house.
higher fence now.
Basically, I
because-
think the issue is one now that having built it, they've got problems with lack of privacy. This is the neighbours. And so they're saying that A, the fence has moved because of the building works allegedly, and when it's replaced, they need to have it higher
higher,
to prevent
yes.
or to mitigate some of the privacy
Yes.
issues.
Yes.
However, did they ever have planning permission in the first place to actually build the thing?
Mm.
Well, originally when that house was, when they brought St Michael's house, that house was sold with planning permission, wasn't it? For 2 plots in the garden, when the Smiths were there.
Yeah.
It was outline, I expect.
Yes.
So
Well, they couldn't get planning permission because there was a huge row, because it was going to go higher up the hill and then...
No, this is where, I'm talking before this.
No, no, I'm
originally.
saying this is what I'm talking about. because
Yes.
They then had to do an archaeological dig,
Yes,
which
well,
they
that
did.
that was when they...
And then after that, Sedgemoor were worried that the retaining wall on the road would not
So
adequate.
basically then, they didn't apply for full planning permission then.
It looks like it. We don't have it.
I thought we resubmitted plans. I thought I remember 2 lots of plans.
well,
coming.
it
Well,
was
it's
about
trees
Yes,
and
some-
things.
yes, trees, and it
Yes,
Yeah,
I think to say
archaeological
they
digging.
must have had.
They couldn't do anything until they had an
Yeah,
archaeological.
they did all that.
No, so
This
it
planning
must have
review-
been.
This
It's
is
Sedgemoor
described as a
must have known.
resubmission, this
Well,
particular
they
one.
must have known.
Yes, they do. So
Does
this
it
is
actually
obviously...
say, that's what it said.
Yeah, some
Because
of
on,
the,
on,
Yeah.
on,
Well,
the,
how
on
has
the note
this
it
come
said
about?
retrospective, that was all.
no, it says resubmission.
You have to apply for a building notice to start.
Yes, I know, but
And
would
then
how?
that goes to the planning
Yes.
officer.
Oh, yes, I know.
And then you
And
start
that's
digging.
all
It must have been all done properly
But
because
how?
but
How have they,
does-
how have
So-
they
because
put it?
Sedgemoor thought they were
Can
coming
we
out
get hold of
to
those
do
14?
start of the
Yes.
And it's
Cynthia?
finished.
Should be
Yes.
finished.
Did,
Yeah,
we,
so-
did you have
so we obviously
sight
never-
of 07
Never applied for
14
the building certificate to start.
403?
That's right.
Mm.
Sorry, what are we talking about? This
This
one here?
is the letter which says resubmission of a full application. So in other words, there was a full
From this bit
application
here.
against consent. Assembly 14 444 403. So presumably there was
Yes.
an application.
But again, it
And
was
the neighbours
brought,
were
the
happy.
certain
I-
was
I-
the building
I-
was
I-
not strictly
doing it
rather for the
Oh,
drawing.
they objected then, didn't
Yeah,
they?
they
It's
objected.
getting a bit there.
It was passed, wasn't it? Yeah.
She moaned about it then.
But they said then the
Well, we
tree
had
was in
some-
their garden or something.
Yeah, no, we had it almost.
The tree was in
Trees,
their
that's
garden.
right, yes.
She came to the meeting.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Right, okay.
So this is we're talking about one that's 3 years ago.
Yes, well, I wasn't doing the planning then, so...
No, I wasn't.
No, that's why I remember the.
Well, I can remember
the
it coming
tree.
up, but obviously, how does this come about? Because that house has been built some time and they're in there.
Well, it's not finished.
about a year ago.
Yes,
Not
I know,
finished.
but then it suddenly come up, you know,
No.
obviously
Because they
for...
came
With the steps up to the
and,
front.
they came and inspected the finished building, and not having been there before, so they suddenly found what was there.
And this
What
might
the
be
plans?
just
This was the planners.
This is the plans, yes. So it wasn't built within accordance to the plans.
Or building regs.
But
Well,
we're
Well,
not
it must
here.
have had
We're not
building
here.
It couldn't have had building regs.
But
well,
If you have had building regs, you would have had an inspector out in different stages
Oh,
throughout
yes,
the
I
build.
know that.
And then you get it signed off. When you've done the footings, it's signed off, and you go to the first course, and then you go to the next bit and the next bit.
Yes,
So they never applied for the building certificate, and that they'd carried on without having any inspections or any visits
That's right.
because the council
All
didn't
they're
know it
asking
was
us-
being
All
started.
they're asking us to do now is look at these plans and
Yes,
see if we've got any
say-
objections.
Yes.
Yes,
And we
exactly.
leave it up to Sedgemoor as to whether they
Yes,
want to do anything
well,
about
this
it.
is
Well, I
why.
say we object.
I disagree.
We passed it in the first place by
Well, we
giving
know
it.
Yeah,
we
but
passed
they haven't built what we
We never-
passed.
We were not asked to do anything about that. If you read it
No,
out there,
no,
it says
it really is
consent
for us.
was granted under your reference, blah, blah. It was brought to our officers' attention that certain elements of the as-built dwelling were not strictly in line with the approved drawings. On the advice of S. Schuler, it was agreed that we should submit a fresh application to cover the as-built dwelling. So all they're asking us to do is whether we got
Approve the as-built.
That's the as-built.
No. No, we don't approve it. No.
On the grounds
I
of,
think it's one of the best buildings that's arrived in this
Well,
village.
No.
I wouldn't agree with that.
But
Oh, you don't.
I can't say
No,
that I don't
it's
approve of a building.
It's not bad.
Because it's
big.
it's built and we
Yeah.
did
I think it
those.
makes a mockery of, well, why do we even apply for planning permission if you can
Well-
just go and do whatever you like?
well,
But some people make
That's
mistakes,
actually.
and they've obviously made a mistake.
That's not a
here.
mistake.
Well, I
Well, some-
don't
some
know
is
any
made a
more than you do.
mistake.
do
If
you?
you're a builder, you know exactly what's right and wrong. And if you haven't had an inspector out once throughout a build of that size, because they didn't know that it had actually started,
You don't
That's
make a
true.
mistake of a building
And
which is
actually
8 foot high. or 6
up
foot
in the
high.
air, yeah, exactly.
No, it's not a mistake.
What do they do, like start building and then just think, oh, hang on a minute, we'll
Well, I
put a
don't know
door
what
in it?
it is, I have no
It's
idea.
only a metre in the air.
there's a
So they
feature.
said they wanted a shift.
What, 8 foot?
A metre's 3'9".
Where's that?
They said it's 8 foot.
It says
So on the letter it says,
One of the letters.
That's
to do with
6 foot or so.
1.8 metres is talking about the fence.
That's the
Yes,
fact.
that's the fence that they want to have
That
it,
wanted
they
to
want
put
it
up, that the
lifted up.
neighbours wanted.
Yes.
but surely the issue is one of,
Yes.
well, there are two issues. One is, there seems to be an error in the whole planning process, which is out with our control because we have nothing to do with
Yes,
that.
exactly.
That's a process under the control of Sedgemoor
Mm.
and the planning department,
Yeah.
which clearly there has been some form of error, which
Somebody has made a mistake somewhere.
and clearly only came to light when the planners, if indeed the planners came out to look at the finished product. And why they came out, who knows?
Well, the only reason we know that there's a resubmission of the plan is because they've come out and realised what happened and told them to resubmit.
Yes.
Because
that's
it's not
what
been built in accordance
So
with the
in
original
accordance with
plan.
what Peter is now saying, we now have forget the fact that it's built, forget all that. Our process now surely is to say, we have a planning application in front of us with drawings.
Hmm.
Are we happy with what they are proposing? And let's presume it wasn't built, are we happy with what they proposed to build? Malcolm, sorry. You're my deaf ear.
I understand that this property has been built on the wrong site. It should have been built further into the
Hillside.
hillside.
Yes, that's what it said.
And this means that it's not been built in the right place.
But is that,
But that is why they're having to resubmit.
Yeah.
But the property is fine, it's just where and how they've
and is
Gone
that
about
really
this.
materially going to affect other people?
Yeah, the next door neighbour saying that it's an invasion of their privacy. That they had to put up with the plans that were submitted and agreed, and that they haven't built to that specification, they've done something
But
completely
is
different.
it really going to affect them, materially going to affect them, the fact that
Loss of privacy, yeah. And
Well,
I think
that's because of the height, not the position, is it?
Well, the position could
position as well,
If it
because
was
it's further
further back,
forward.
it wouldn't be so
so high.
so close.
Okay.
This is where we could do with the sage.
Well, that's why I propose that,
Well, we can support, I suspect the issue is one that, in principle, we would probably support the plans as presented,
Yeah, well, that's what we're asked to do.
But we
I
support
agree.
the plans.
but we are
So it's
concerned,
not in our,
or have concerns that the process has got to the
But it's
point.
nothing
Not being
that's,
adhered to.
that's opposition.
But this is a sensible problem.
It's
It's
not-
it's really not
Yes,
sensible.
but
When we
just-
try to put,
Decide
when we
what
try
they
to
want to
put
do about it.
clauses in
Taking
the rest
action.
of it, say we can't do that,
I think we've been asked to approve look
the
at the
plans.
plans.
I think you've got to look at the plans as
And
as
they
you
will
have
then
presented to you.
Take
The
the
problem
next
is
step.
if we say, yeah, we're happy with it, our Sedgemoor then, well,
Just let it go.
they're going to let it go, aren't they?
Yeah.
Let's be blunt.
But
Or
we've
they're
got
gonna-
to reflect the neighbours as well
Yes.
that they've put in, and they've objected quite
Yes, that's what I was
strongly.
going to ask about.
And I feel that we have got to not just
But
lie
we're not
down
asked to
and
do that,
play
are we?
dead. But there's an infringement on the neighbours, and the thing is that I still go back to, they had agreed a plan of the position, of the size, of the height of the house, and that they have not used the system as it should be. They have not applied for a certificate, and they have not
How do
had.
you know that they haven't applied for a certificate?
It's there, isn't it?
Because they came
The
back.
minute you dig, you have to put in to have Sedgemoor come out and look at your footings to make sure that they are deep enough and that there are no branches and no debris there that would conversely affect the build of the house. So they have blatantly just pushed the whole lot through because an inspector would have pulled that up straight away and said, hang on a minute, that's in the wrong place. Now either that they've done this deliberately and they've put it where they wanted to put it because they didn't want to put it where it was for whatever reason. But you can't.
Do I remember they actually put in another planning application afterwards for the room over the garage? Well, if they...
Something like that.
Yes, it was, wasn't it?
Well,
So
it must be
Sedgemoor must have known.
Yeah.
Yes, they
Well, I
did.
Because
can
they
understand
put
why
up-
Sedgemoor
But of
didn't know
course,
the lorries that were
exactly,
coming up and down into the village when they were building it. Everybody was complaining about the rumble, that ruined the road out on Church Lane. And Bob knew
But
about it.
Sedgemoor must have known because of that.
If we don't voice our concerns about this application,
We aren't worth...
Sedgemoor are likely to
Just roll over.
just roll it through.
Well, then all we
Yeah.
do is say that we've got no problem with it
We have
building, but the worries of the neighbours have to be
Taken
sorted
Taken
out.
into consideration, yes.
I think we object to it. I think we object to it. It needs to go on to a
Well,
committee and it
then what
needs
you
to
have to
be...
say then is what are you objecting?
Hasn't
Because they-
complied with the original plan.
Exactly.
But
No,
these-
it's been
But
resubmitted.
these are
It's
resubmitted
nothing to do with
plans,
the
that's the
other
trouble.
plans. It's to do with the plans that we come before. We had no problem with the
Well, I'll
plans.
tell you what, why don't we just, just go and build anything we want to,
No.
and then we'll put in for
Well, you actually,
retrospective.
you can, if you want to.
That of course is true.
But then, people chance their arm and they actually do. And people...
And there we are, and then the parish council just turn around and say, okay, well that's a good one.
No,
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 we're
they
not
actually,
saying that,
they
are
actually
we?
moan about it, and then people say,
We're
right,
trying to
nothing
do-
happened,
So
and they
let's-
go back,
Let's
they got
then,
Excuse me, we're trying to give a considered opinion.
yeah, absolutely.
And it obviously, it is a problem. It's a problem because
yeah, because
for the very reason we're
two
looking
people are
at it.
complaining about it, and
Yeah.
we agree with those complaints, they've got to be
Yes.
recognised.
Yes, and I think
We haven't got any problem with the building.
no, the
Well,
building
yeah.
itself.
Well, we have, because it's not been built in the right place.
No,
It's
but
too
what-
But
hard.
that is nothing to do with what we're being asked to do now.
Yeah,
No,
that's
but
fair.
I have to look at the
You see?
plans.
That's the
Say-
trouble.
Well, yes, I see what you're
That's
saying, right. That
But
it's
house itself-
resubmission of full planning application. Well, the full planning application
Here's the
was
building.
where the house is, and it's too
Well, it is-
high.
well, the point is, they have resubmitted an application based upon what happened,
That's right.
not what
Yes.
should have happened.
And it also
Right.
says an as-built application.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's not resubmission actually, because it's new.
The only way that you can be sure of the variation between the two applications
You'll see
is
exactly
to
what
see-
was submitted.
to see them overlay the plans on each other.
Well, we haven't got the original plans, have we, Cynthia?
Pardon?
We wouldn't have had the original plans.
Owen's got those probably.
I don't, they're on Sedgemoor's website, but I...
Well, this is a photograph here of the proposed new dwelling, and this is the photograph of the dwelling now. There, as it is now.
And that's as is,
As is.
not what was originally proposed.
But this is part of their resubmission.
Yeah.
But that's as is,
Yes.
because it is
That's
as
what I'm
is.
saying, it is as is.
Yeah, but what the point was that Malcolm was making is they would have submitted a document originally which said this is what they
Yes,
intended to
indeed,
do,
indeed.
and then
And there is a discrepancy,
compare it with
obviously.
that document to see where the variations are. And of course we haven't done that. I think we ought to express some concern.
Yes, I do, definitely.
Well, I think
So I'm not sure what that concern can be.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I certainly agree with Peter that we are being asked to look at the plan.
The as is, yes, I
As
agree with
is.
Peter too.
However,
We're worried about the neighbours, yeah.
it's the point A of the neighbours, but equally
There-
getting into this situation in the first place is of concern.
Yes.
And I can't see why you can't. I know it's Sedgemoor's problem, but can't we flag that up as a?
Well, I think in the
I think
sense
so.
that if they want, they obviously want to have a higher fence, and I think that's important for them. And in that sense, that might be one way of them accepting it as it is. But I don't know, because I've had similar things a long time ago
Well,
with me.
you could add a proposal.
So you have to,
We could add a caveat to say, recognising this is almost a fait accompli.
What
We would
Sedgemoor do when
I
they
think
look
we
at
should-
planning applications, they look at it as either a support or rejection or no observations. If you put a support with caveats, they will take notice of those, they'll take it as a support.
So it's
Well,
objection.
if you object to it with caveats, they'll do exactly the same. They'll object to it. So you have to decide whether you're going to actually support it or object to it. You can put caveat, but won't take notice of it.
The views of the neighbours should be taken into account without question.
Yeah, and
Yes.
I'm sure they probably will be on the website, because obviously
they've got them, haven't they?
they've got them. So that will come up as part of their consideration.
Yeah.
If it goes to committee.
If it goes to committee. Yeah.
And
And
what
it's-
makes it go to committee?
Plus,
Wherever we decide.
Whatever we decide.
We can't say, we would recommend this goes to committee.
no,
No,
you
you can't
object
say
to it
that.
and it goes to committee.
It only goes to committee.
Well, there was that view at the time of the original one, because it's turned out to be a surprisingly large house.
Rules.
I don't think any of us realised the resulting building was as
No,
big as
no,
it.
they'll have to come to some form of compromise, I would suggest. But for us, we have to think about that.
I can't help thinking, because this is a retrospective, that the normal process of objection and support can apply.
Well, of course, they would argue, of course, that whether it's retrospective or not doesn't make any difference to the merits of the application.
That is true.
No.
In other words, you have to look at the application on its merits, not whether it's already been built or not. It's just, as it stands now, would you grant that planning application if it had not been retrospective? Or would you
Okay,
object to
so
it?
we can object on the design because of the layout, the detailing and the density and the effect of the character on the area or the street. So,
Fits in well.
no, it doesn't.
Doesn't.
It's overlooking the next door neighbour. It's now
I
6
agree.
foot in the air.
It's a big building.
That's a privacy issue, isn't it?
Yeah. So design, we can object on design. The landscape impact is 6 foot up in the air. It shouldn't be. Impact on the character of the landscape, visibility from the public,
Then what did
accessible
we
vantage
say when we
points,
first saw
the
it
need
then?
for landscaping
Because it
to
was in a
soften or
presumably
screen
it's in a
visual
different
impact.
But was it the same dimensions?
Probably, but in a
But
different.
how can it be? It's higher. It's not the same dimensions, is it? It's higher.
It's higher for a start, yes.
But it's also in a different physical position.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I
I agree.
suspect if it was
Well
built, we would have supported it on the grounds of the original plan, but now,
We object on design and the landscape impact.
Does that cover neighbour?
The design is the detailing, the layout and the effect on the character of the area or street.
Which I think.
And then the landscape impact is on character, visibility from public accessible vantage points, the need for landscaping to soften or screen visual impact. And that's exactly, you know, that you're going to have to put up, you know, great big fences to actually cover this building. So there are two positive objections there. And material considerations? Overlooking, yeah. Residential amenity, loss of privacy, visual domination,
I don't think the first one's applicable.
overshadowing, loss of light.
I think it's that one that's the key.
Material
Considerations. But that's about the wildlife and
No,
And
everything.
I'd like to
residential.
propose we support it. So, would you?
I object to it on residential amenity because of the
So,
overlooking of
Let's
lots.
have a vote on it.
So
I think we'll have to go to a vote. So,
Yes, so what do you want to
Then we'll
propose
get
on?
it over and done.
So Peter's proposal is a proposal support.
Yeah.
So,
can I have all those in favour to support Peter's proposal to support it? And Andrea is saying we object on the grounds of visual.
residential amenity, the
amenity.
landscape impact and the design.
Well, I don't think the design is, with all due respect, has changed,
Yeah,
other than they've got the
they've
height. But that will be covered by that your second one.
Okay. And it's, well, on the design, the effect on the character of the area or the street.
Well, I don't think it has an effect on it.
No.
Let's get it over, let's go on.
Otherwise we'll be here. So,
Well, then why do you agree?
Sorry?
no. So on those 2 points only,
Which 2 points
So
are
that's
important?
Residential amenity
which is affecting the neighbours,
Yeah.
visual,
and landscape impact.
it's too tall.
So that's a proposal to object on those
Yeah.
grounds, so we need a vote.
So vote on that,
Proposal
all those in
supporter.
favour.
Two.
So that's,
And
Majority.
yeah.
Thank you.
Now we go to next one. The 2417 00013, change of 2 existing barns, which is on the border between East Brent and Brent Knoll.
I've got these, consulting replies and you must have more.
There's about, I think there's about 7 acres in East Brent and about an acre.
It is actually over the border.
It is,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But because it's so close to our boundary,
That's
we are a
right.
consultee.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think the sheds are in East Brent.
Yes, they are, aren't they? Yeah.
You okay?
Probably.
They are really.
my proposal to save time and that we would have no comment.
I agree.
But you want?
No comment, because.
My concern is there's an approved track to approach this property,
Right.
and there is a footpath,
Yes,
and I would like to be sure that footpath is
right, so I'll tell you what it says here.
It's not used in that access.
On the comments online, right of way group, for public footpath, any proposed works shouldn't encroach on current width of footpath, and any changes have to, you have to seek the authorisation through the Central County Council. And that
and
is
the
what
right of way should be maintained.
Yes, the right of way, yes.
So that's already covered now, come by.
It's covered, and the drainage board had an
Well,
objection.
we can back that up.
That's the right of way, so that's been covered,
Right.
okay?
As a council, we can
And the
can
actual,
support.
reiterate that,
Yeah,
which we're actually asked.
but again, as we've already said, if we support it and put in a comment, then they'll just ignore the comments.
Yeah.
You could have put a positive comment about supporting it, not a negative.
Got it.
That's
Again,
why you
I
wouldn't
think
support
it's
it.
right, you've got,
Well, right away, they have to decide
No
no decision or anyway.
Yeah, and these people have already said.
They're consultees anyway.
Yeah. So my view is that we just say no comment.
Yeah. Second.
Is that everybody's view? Fine. No observation?
And on the agenda we have the Chelsea School,
Yeah.
and that's already got approval.
Yeah, that's basically got approval. All that was
Yes,
really
it has,
was
it's online, it's not.
certificate of lawfulness. It has no impact on what anybody might say. In other words, they were just applying that they could actually lawfully go ahead and do what they're doing without any
All
need
online,
further.
anyway.
People go on that
Yeah.
Have they got some influx of children or something? Probably. Did you notice that standards all going downhill since we refer to children as kids?
Kids,
Since we still refer to children as kids, standards in the country have
kids,
gone down.
they're now
Children, yeah,
goats, baby goats.
But everybody calls children kids.
And deer. Oh yes, they are. A deer is
Only in some deer.
Yes.
Mr. Peter, footpaths, please.
Footpaths, yeah. Overgrown pretty well everywhere. We've still got the footpath around the back of the reservoir to dig out and stone. There's a tree down on the footpath as you approach the reservoir from Windy Ridge. I think the land it came from is the Grove Farm, but I'm not sure, but I've got to go down and see the people, and if it is, then we can get up on the hill and cut it up. And Grove Farm, Mrs. Tucker's daughters and husband.
That's a new house.
Yeah, but they're not built
Yeah.
a
So this tree on this footpath, then, is that, how does that affect us? Do we need to
We
take any
can't
action
go
on
through
that?
it, it's completely blocked, but I'll go and see the people and ask them to get it cut out.
But I guess that was yesterday.
It was only yesterday, and I haven't had time to go down and see it today.
Put Peter to investigate it.
I don't believe it was.
Hey, wish.
Yes.
And well,
Gates, have we got the gates in another part, or is it?
Well, yeah, good mention now, Peter. Has anything happened on it?
Well, the thing is, we're waiting for the gate, but on the original quote, the Mountain Heritage said that he would fetch the gate for a fee. So I don't know if you'd like to agree the charge. It was £52. Fetch it from Glastonbury. We could get on and do that. Yeah.
Is it a big gate?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's about 10 foot long.
If required, collection from SCC depot, £52.
It's 52.
That's
Where would you
heritage.
store it?
No, I wouldn't want it because he would put it, he would go and get it and fit it.
Oh, right, okay.
Yes.
Yes, they're not too sad. We come up under here for footpaths and gates and things like that. But in actually College, I don't know how much people are aware of the fact that College wanted to put another gate, and this is on the newly established track, where we put a horse gate down at the far end. And he wanted to put a gate at, shall we say, at the Brent Knoll end of Crooked Lane, so that people couldn't drive down there. And Colin told me that he has been told by Chris East that he is not allowed to put a gate there.
Oh.
Even though where the gate was going to go, having turned in from Crooked Lane to go down that way, even though there are no gates off between where he wanted to put a gate and the gate at the other end.
Yes.
So he's been told it can't happen. And also, we had the discussion actually at the time, before the gates came up, about replacing the sleepers there. No, we can't do that either. So we arrived at a situation, whether we could do anything about it or not, but they did say I will bring it up, that we have established a new track. But there's nothing actually to stop anybody from the Brent Knoll end driving right the way down to the Breen end, then getting there and deciding that they can't go any further, they have to sort of plough up and turn all the way and come back again. But Chris said it's not allowed, and I think we should voice some concern. and have clarification on the issue.
Well, Chrissy should be told that when I came to the village, there was a gate there, and then until the gypsies pinched it.
Yeah. Well, I think it's,
Retrospectively, there was a gate.
I think it is of some concern.
Historically, not retrospectively.
I think we need to voice our concern a bit.
But there are two fields that come off in that section. Because Paul Baker goes down there.
I didn't think there were any gates on
Colin
that.
mentioned
There are two gates alongside one another, into the big field and the one next to
That's
it.
before we get down to the horse cage.
Yeah,
But
that
Colin
goes
said
down.
it would
In
not-
fact, it was the old
But we
sort
put
of
the,
decent.
where we put the sleepers before was just past his last gateway.
Yeah.
So
If
that's
you
where the
put
gate was
it there, it wouldn't be an issue for the existing landowner, and that's what Colin reckoned.
Yeah.
So the real question though is, has Chris East got the power of veto?
Yeah, I'm not sure about.
Well, I think we need clarification.
And I think John's
He
right.
is if he's going to give you a gate.
But if you're going to have a gate, if
Does he
you've got a gate,
know
well,
Does
with
he
the
know
gate.
where the gate's going? If
But
it's
the
going
gate is-
not at the beginning, if it's going after somebody's field.
But we're not going to deny access to anybody there. I mean, if there is a gate there and farmers want to go in there, then they can get the key.
Can I suggest that perhaps I drop Chris East a note and say the parish council would like a clear explanation as to why
Yes.
this gate cannot be installed and for what reasons?
Yes.
But
Yeah.
And I think it's worth making whoever's point it was, that there was, historically there was a gate.
Yes. I think
Yes,
Yeah.
Peter's.
Historically, there was a
But
gate.
it was right at this end.
Yeah,
It wasn't
but-
halfway down, like.
But, yeah,
Yeah, there was a gate.
irrespective, historically there was a
Yeah.
gate, and which was stolen.
Yeah.
We used to be putting them up one after the other, and then.
Good. No, fair enough. That's fair enough.
Anything else on sorry,
Well,
Bob?
can I go
Sorry,
back?
Peter, yes?
Can I go back to the fact that are we going to get Heritage to fetch this gate?
Not till this is
52
sorted, I would think.
No, this is
This is something else.
This
Oh,
is
this is
another, this is
This is the
another
one by
gate.
the cider farm that we've been waiting for ages for.
Yeah. I would suggest we go for it. Any can I have, Peter would propose it, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Second,
Who's going to fetch it?
Well, basically Heritage Landscapes will do it. Richard Cadogan.
I want to
Yeah.
pay £52 for it to be
Do they have them in stock?
fitted.
It's a free gate.
Oh, I'm fitted, is
Oh
good.
no, this is another charge for fit.
175 for fitting.
it's just that it's £250 to do the whole thing.
It's a free gate.
223
Free
it should be precise. But,
Free
Do they
gate.
have the gate in stock?
See the,
Engineers
if you
don't
see the
do-
quotes
do-
we had before, that's
Like
very
new
good.
ones we like to do round, big ones.
So it's 200. So in other words, for Richard Cadogan to go and pick up the gate and install it, it's £223.
Yeah.
So is that the price of the gate?
No, the gate's
No, the
free.
gate
Gate's
is
free.
Yeah.
Keep up.
Yeah.
What?
And it'll be a
Did
gate
you
with a
say
gate.
keep up there?
It's two gates in one.
Yeah.
That's where you build.
So can we have a consensus on whether we
Bob
go?
wanted to speak, sorry.
So did you,
No, it was only going back to the Chris East letter. I presume, Owen, you'll put in there the explanation as to why we're actually wanting it and to
Yeah.
protect the path from being turned up.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
Yeah.
having spent 20,000?
So you're happy to write in on that one, and happy for him to give the go-ahead on the Richard Cadogan on the collecting and fitting. Right? Okay.
I actually cycled down, it doesn't go to Green all the way, it goes to Paradise.
Oh.
Anything else on, anything else on
It's
foot
called
paths?
Harrow.
On Bever Road, that was called Paradise.
Yeah.
Bob? Well, that was the only point.
That was the only thing.
Yeah, okay, good.
Don't worry about that lost as well, actually.
Highway reports, Mel.
No, nothing to report.
Anything on Wick Lane? I don't know whether Sedgemoor or whoever's or counties have looked at it.
I spoke to them about it, and they did say it's under, it's under consideration until the whole work is finished. But they haven't told me that they're going to do anything about it particularly, other than just check it out when it's finished.
I mean, I'm presuming it is finished. And I don't know whether it's connected to.
If you go to the top of the knoll, it looks finished.
Does it?
Huge.
Yeah.
It's huge, it's enormous.
Really,
At
really.
the top of the
Really, really
Should never have had it.
Really cool.
The last on the landscape.
Great mirror, is it?
It supplied 25% of our electricity the other day.
That's
Did you
it.
see that? Solar
What's
power.
bloody good, 25%, you want a whole lot?
Not
Not
easy stuff.
There's one issue that came up actually in the parish surgery this afternoon. You remember last time we spoke about this hedge at Windows in Station Road? Apparently, Mrs. Bryant tells me that wasn't the one that she was referring to. She was referring to one called Sundowners, property called Sundowners, along Station Road.
Yes,
And it was
there's
that
a
hedge
further
that
along,
was
yes.
the one that she was concerned about.
Yes.
So although we wrote to Mr. Harris,
But
Mr. Harris kindly got it sorted.
It's the wrong one.
It's the wrong one.
So has he sorted the right?
He sorted the one that we thought it was, but now we subsequently find it's
It
not.
was Mr. Harris's property. because
No, I actually was the person who said about windows because,
Oh, was it? Oh,
yes, it was me. Because you couldn't walk on the pavement,
Okay.
and he has done it, it is better now.
But
Okay.
it's the next one, isn't it, that needs?
It's further along.
Sundowns, it's called.
So we need to write to that.
But that's a big hedge and it's
I'll
kind
look
of
on the actual roll
bold.
and see who
And
it
of
is.
course you're like this.
Yes, Kathy said that,
It
yes.
is,
Oh, we're
it's
quite happy with
absolutely
Christians.
dangerous actually.
A couple of things. The one at Sundowners, there's a couple of other properties that are
Yeah,
behind
they're
that
the-
hedge. I
yes.
think it's multiple
Yeah.
owners.
Yes.
Multiple ownership, is it?
So you might just check the electoral roll to see.
Yeah.
And the other thing was on Brent Street, I think it's between numbers 6 and 8, there was a 30-mile-an-hour repeater sign that isn't there anymore. It's, if you drive past, it's flat. In the snapshot.
Yeah, I'm told
So
I
repeat the sign missing, so that needs to be reported out
Yeah,
to.
And it's still there at the moment. But it's
Side
just
number 8.
No, I think that's probably
Line
the guy Sedgmore, what's his name?
County, the Engill.
I think there's a chap at Sedgmore that deals with some road signs as well. But I think he does directory
Street
signs
names.
rather than, yeah. Okay.
Don't get hungry.
Okay, so we're okay there.
Hi, so sorry, that was Wick Lane, and we think that somebody will go and have a look at it eventually.
Yes, that I think is what I understand.
Are we allowed to comment on other parishes, adjacent parish?
In what respect?
If you drive through East Brent, there's a hedge road which comes very much into the road, just as you go on just before the school turn. If you're coming from East Brent into Brent Knoll, there, so the road does that, just by the playground. And that hedge comes right out into the road.
So like this, is it Parish Council?
Well, you have to.
I don't know whether we as a parish council can just raise it with our neighbourhood
Is
friends.
this on the corner of Johnson Close, which is where they built the Union McAlpine home some years ago?
It's opposite.
Where the playground
It's
is.
on the
Yeah.
opposite side.
Yes.
I'm sure Bob can have words with him when he uses
When you DC or CC visit,
Yeah, contact county.
So I'll write a little note to, I'll just drop a line to the clerk.
Jim Murray.
Jim Murray at East Brent, yeah, okay.
it does seem to take,
Mind my own business.
there's no footpath there. And it does make cars veer to the middle, and it's a blind spot for cars coming in the opposite direction.
Okay.
Right, who did the
Malcolm did the green.
You do a lot.
village green and toilet block?
Peter did May one. You're on there this month, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm on
this one.
I beg pardon, sir, I'm confused.
My confusion.
Several visits, 2 occasions the green was littered with tape, saying there was underground cables everywhere. But it was put up because of the wet paint, apparently. I notified Owen. I went back a couple of days later. Somebody had been there and improved the situation, but the kids had said, no thank you, we want to climb all over the equipment. So it was absolutely ridiculous. The signs were illegible because the rain had washed them out, so I took it all down and tidied it up. I felt the paint was dry at that time. The gents' toilet tap was loose,
Which
so
toilet,
I
sorry?
tightened it up.
Which toilet? Gents.
It's a tap in the corner. It was loose, so I tightened it up, and it was at 45 degrees, so I went home and got a pair of 18-inch Stilsons and turned it completely round, and it's very tight now.
Oh, good.
Good.
The ladies, one of the toilets wouldn't work, so I went around the back and fiddled about with that. There was an airlock in the system, so that's now working. Apart from that,
Has the work that was, you know, we asked Mr Hopkins to do some work in the ladies, has that actually all been done? Because I've not heard anything from him at all, and no invoice.
I saw him one day and he said he was coming back with some drain cleaners or
Right,
something, and
right.
I presume he'd done that because everything's working okay. Always flush the toilets to make sure they work.
Okay.
And they all worked.
Right.
Well, I think-
Apart from that,
I think we're all aware that the play equipment has been, some of the play equipment has been painted, and I think what you can see from a distance looks very good. We did have some difficulties with
some of the grass has been painted.
where children with their parents present decided to use the equipment despite the painter saying wet paint, and the parents just carried on eating their picnics. However, it was that hot back holiday weekend, and then of course we had
Kids
half
were on
term.
holiday for a week.
Yeah. But how on earth you can stop that happening? You can't just put a gate there, we can't just sort of stop the green being used because it's physically impossible. They'll ignore it, I suspect. Owen and I and Andy had a look this afternoon. I think it's a case that we're going to have to bite the bullet, and in a period between now and the summer holiday, if he could come back and just rub the odd bits down where the finger marks have gone and reapply the paint. And I would suggest that we consider that that should be painted again, possibly in 3 years' time or something. But we'll keep an eye on it. But I think by doing that, it has made it look a lot better. And the roundabout, particularly picking out the features on the part you stand on, is quite nice.
Yes,
If you haven't
lovely.
seen it.
That was very good, picking up that point. Of course, I brought the point to you, Mr Chairman, and I was the contact with Andy Silver for the painting anyway, but he did ring me up. He was very, very upset because, yeah, I think he does take himself very seriously, and anyway, the kids have been there
Now,
and
it
started
has-
putting their fingers on wet paint and that, and clearly what's got to happen, as you rightly say, is that we need to have him revisit, to repaint. What was, I think, annoying for him is that he had children crawling all over the roundabout, so he put iron stakes all the way around it and plastic all the way around. They ripped the plastic away and threw the iron stakes away. So it's not, you know, it was a very unhappy time for him.
Yeah. It's a reflection of the...
Children there today got a lot of children.
It's
Parents.
unfortunate.
Now, as part of that work, when John, myself and Brian met him to decide on colours, he was asked to do a couple of benches and the seat up in the corner.
Yes.
So that's why the bill might be slightly
It's like
higher.
about £140.
But can I suggest that when he does come back to do the touching up of the paint, we get him to do the woodwork on the, not quite sure what you call it.
Trim trail.
Trim trail. No,
Oh, is that
not trim trail.
Not
No.
trim trail, on
The
the
bridge,
on
on
the bridge
the
on-
multiplayer unit.
Yeah, the multiplayer unit, because that bridge, that wood still is untreated.
Yeah.
Well,
It
it's
was
not treated, but
he
it's...
did actually talk to me about it, and I cannot remember the reason. He said, I am not going to do it. So there was a reason for it, so
I wonder why.
I don't know, but he said he was not going to do it.
Could you perhaps ask him on the QT, John, please?
Well, yes, of course I'm going to ask him, actually. It's obviously, we're going to have to contact him, and if you
If I send him a cheque anyway...
send him Jack and say, really repainting,
Yeah.
contact me.
Yeah, sure.
But what I need to do is give him a steer on when he comes back. We better decide when that would be. So it needs to be probably about 3 weeks in between. Get the paint really hard so it can rub it down without pulling the paint.
I mean, when school finished, July?
So we want to get on with it a little bit earlier.
Or, failing that, we're going to have to put it off and do it in the
Yeah.
autumn.
Yeah, in 2 weeks' time.
So,
End of summer.
I'll send a letter to Andy and then I'll ask him...
no, well, I mean, I'd like to steer. If I'm going to ask him to do it, are we going to do it perhaps in a fortnight's time, or are we going to leave it to the autumn?
About the beginning of July.
If it's not by the middle of July.
Yeah, because schools will finish in
About the 20th
Of
July. So first week in July, ideally.
first week of July. Okay.
And could you perhaps ask him to clarify his concerns?
Absolutely, yes, I
over
understand that.
that?
Right, that's fine.
Yeah, we'll pay for it to do it.
Of
We
course.
don't, but it's I can't understand why you wouldn't.
No, I can't, no, I agree with you, and as long as, if he contacts me, I will deal with him, but he must contact me. Yes. Fine.
Bob, just a question, from what you were saying, I wasn't sure. Are you saying he has done a trim trail and the other woodwork bits?
Yes, that's all been done.
He gave it 2 coats.
Looks nice.
That looks very good.
It's the other bigger brown.
It's a what?
It's like
Dark.
darkish brown, was it?
Oh, isn't that
A burnished brown.
Is there? Well, I went into town and asked for some bigger brown polish the other day.
I'm sure.
I was suggesting, and I might as well say it, and I said to Andy, I think it would be quite nice to encourage the children if we could find some way of painting some frogs in strategic places on the equipment, and then we could have them, they could then find the frogs, school project.
There are times of the year when they're toads across the road and they get squat, we could place them.
We are the frog. Island, so.
Well, the only thing, Mr. Chairman, I think we talked about it the other day. I don't think Andy is a man for doing that.
No.
But whether she would be able to do it, but the woman who painted the designs on at the entrance side, she is a watercolourist. But whether I bet she teaches painting, so she might be able, if we wanted to go down that route, you might get her to paint some frogs at strategic places.
Or be on a plastic disc, isn't it? The sticky bags.
The other thing you could do is just do a stencil.
If we can get
And
some.
if it was, I'm sure Mac
Yeah.
would be able to make up a stencil and then you could just spray green frogs wherever you
Well,
want to spray.
that's
Oh,
all right.
that'd be
It's good.
super.
Better idea.
I mean,
But
is it too much to try and push it, that's all? If we're trying to encourage use on the green? Now, we haven't got Brian here to talk about Project Senior.
It's on the agenda.
There's no senior person.
Project Senior is anybody over the age of 18, Peter?
I beg your pardon?
That's right,
I did this by Brian and asked him.
Excellent. So could you report, please?
Well, it's on the agenda later on.
But etc.
Adult equipment's on the agenda, actually.
Is it separate?
Separate.
It was just that while we're talking
Yeah.
about the
It's
green.
up to you. Sorry.
Hold it to later then.
Okay.
Can I just mention about one thing we have skirted over, is this quotes we've had for the chain link fencing.
Oh, I forgot that, yes.
We had a quote from Richard Cadogan back along, and if I recall, and it is a recollection, that we said that his cost seemed a bit high. He was talking about chain link fencing behind the village hall at a cost of £660, with labour to install of £365, so a total of £1,000 roughly. And then on the sort of restraining area, which is on the other side of the fence, he was going to quote £48 for restraining. Okay, so £1,048 in total. I went out as requested and got some extra quotations. Ian Morgan has come back with a quote. Supply and erect 58 metres of 1.2 high, 2 metre high, 3mm galvanised chain link fencing on angled posts. 2,150.
Richard Cadogan didn't quote for that.
You didn't quote that, no.
What did he quote from?
He quoted from behind the multi-games unit.
So you think it's only behind here then?
Yeah.
Because I assumed it was a bit down here, because I was thinking
No, he
there's a
said-
big difference between these two
He
quotes.
said he wouldn't quote for that because we asked him to repair it. We
Right.
asked him to rebuild it.
Right, okay, well
He
then that
said
probably makes
it
that.
wasn't,
Yeah.
it wasn't fit for repair, it was
It
only
needed
fit for
replacing.
replacement.
Yes.
Yeah.
But can I speak about this, because I'm a bit concerned that as a council, we're doing things that we shouldn't be doing. And that is, we spoke to Heritage, asked them for a price, we considered it too high, we're all on the video, then we go out and ask other people to compete. It's hardly fair on the people that...
Well, yeah, we should get quotes.
To be honest, the only other quote we've got is from Ian.
This instance, it doesn't matter because they've all been higher or they've been for something different, but we
But
should...
they're not for the same, that's the point. I mean, that's
Exactly,
the point. They're not the same.
Yeah.
It's not the same job.
No, I know.
We haven't had a quote for him to do that work. What he's
The
seeing,
chain link fencing.
No, but we were... No.
whereas this one is for, this Ian Morgan's is for that work.
Right down to the bottom, 58
Only that, I
metres.
thought they were competing for...
No.
They're just doing this behind the hall, right the way down to the trim trail.
Right.
But that's a new fence.
A new fence,
Yes.
completely new,
That's on the
chain
left.
link.
And we haven't
On the
talked
right.
yet about the fencing on the other
If you're looking this way, it's on the
Yeah.
right hand side.
Right hand side, so it's completely taking a whole lot out, redoing it, 58 metres apparently, 1.2
It is,
metre.
yeah, it's a considerable job.
And to take down the old fencing and remove from site, clear away all the undergrowth, and make a completely new job of it. And he's quoting 2,150 plus VAT, or 430.
Doesn't really matter about the VAT, does it?
VAT doesn't matter, so basically the quote is for 2,150. And we've had another quote from also Michael LePage,
Yeah,
which came out at 2,800.
yeah. But we haven't had a quote from Richard because we didn't ask him to do it.
No, so we should do
We
that.
should ask.
Yes,
We should ask him to quote on that.
but what about the other side of the green as well?
Well, that's just restraining apparently, isn't it?
He's put
Well,
a
it's
place in
not,
there.
well, I don't know. I think it needs to be properly looked at because I'm not too certain. It isn't in
Bit of a
particular
mess, I must
good.
admit.
It's a mess. But if it can be restrained properly, then that's fine. As long as whoever contracts to do it says I can make a successful job of it. If he can't, then we ought to get another quote, not necessarily to accept it, but at least to consider it.
I think in the first instance.
And I think the other thing which ties in with this, with those chain link fences on both sides of the green, we'll have to make it very clear with the contractor, but saying Jason, who does the green, that part of that contract is to keep the weeds and the undergrowth underneath that fence under control. Because that hasn't actually been made clear.
Peter.
Chain link fencing on the other side of the green, I believe we put it up there because of the fence that was already there. It's sort of,
There's a
we
strip
treat a bit of land between the two fences.
which is our
And if
land.
we get a nice new fence put up there, the fence at the moment from the Hollies is falling down.
It is.
It's- You know, we're going to put up a brand new fence on our own property, and that should be where the wooden fence is.
Where the boundary is, yeah.
And also there are bamboos coming in onto the green.
Is this work in our budget?
We've probably got money that we can do it, in that we have some grants coming, or have got.
But the price we're asking to let him have a go at restraining the wire is not much to have a go, and if it fails, it fails. Or it,
But I think
it's
that
got to
there is an overriding issue of, there is a strip of land which effectively is like a no man's land, which actually is our land,
yeah.
and the neighbour's fence is in a poor state. And I take your point that if we put a brand new fence up, effectively that man could do a land grab. Potentially, if the fence fell down, he
I'm
might
not suggesting we put a new fence on, I'm saying we just put a wire through the top and
no,
strain
try and
it.
restrain it. But that, we're then faced with the difficulty of trying to get at those, that growth, the weeds.
Well, the road actually, once it's cut out, which it should be, spraying is going to be very easy. It's not really a problem. Is it, David?
No, just keep it sprayed twice a year.
Keep it spraying. that's fine.
Jason said to me, Simon, that's what it needs. It just needs basic spraying.
Yeah.
He's
But
done
it needs to
to remove
clear
some of the
some
saplings,
space.
but it's,
Yeah.
It's the same on the other side of the green. We own the land up to the middle of the ditch, but we've had to put a fence up there to stop the kids falling in it.
And yet we've got a stile at the far end to enable them to go over into that bit of land which is full of stingers and brambles.
Especially
We could
filled
do
in
like-
the shop.
Into the green.
That's
We have to take that stile away.
Yeah.
Bob, you were going to say?
I was only going to say, I think it's just a question of what we actually need to do. I would have thought on the far side, by the sound of it, the spraying, there is actually a gap under that.
Yes.
So if it was sprayed back and we got rid of all the stuff that's under it, it would be relatively easy to trim it in the future once it's back under control, rather than spending a lot of money. And again, on this side, I mean, £2,000 for replacing a fence that, the only reason it needs to be there is to stop kids falling in the ring.
That's what it does.
And it does that anyway, so why spare
And it can have
£2,000?
what- But somebody said it can't be restrained.
It
for whatever.
cannot, no, because it's been pushed over by the greenery, the trees and the willows and everything else. And so you could, if you strained it, well, you wouldn't strain it because it has to go out around a tree trunk and back in, and you can't pull it like that.
Maybe we ought to clear all the growth out on that side.
Well, I agree with David. And then keep
It
it.
doesn't matter on that side, I don't think, because it stops the kids